Hi, George here, and today I'll be showing you how you can put text in a circle around a picture, just like I have right here. And we'll cover all of that in this video, but first let's go ahead and get that cat picture. Now I got that over at Pixabay. Let me bring that site up. And this right here, my favorite site for getting free content here to use on these videos. And here's the actual picture. I'll put the link in the description so you have that. Click to download right to this page. Go over to download. And you want the 1837 by 1920 size right there. That's one that we're using in this video. And then go ahead and download that. Okay, let's get this out of the way. And we'll close this and then start a brand new file in here. So File and New, blank file. And I have mine set at the default Photoshop Elements size, which is right there. There we go. Let's just maximize that on the screen. And we're all set. Okay, before we start this project, if you want to learn everything about how to use Photoshop Elements, not just these few things I show here on YouTube, then take a look at my complete training course for Photoshop Elements. It really is the best way to learn how to use this program. I cover everything in that, all the tools, all the menus, all the panels, everything, including how to use the organizer. And I'll put a link for that training right down there in the description. Okay, let's now go ahead and start this project off. And the first thing we need is just to have a circle here in the center. Now to find the center, make sure that you have your rulers showing. I have mine at the top here, left-hand side. If you're not seeing your rulers, go up here to the View menu and come down, and they're right here. Just put a check next to that one, and there you go. Now, also go up here to View and come down to Snap To, and make sure that these are all checked. We'll want to have those working as well. They should be, that's the defaults, but just in case, just double check those. Now go over to a ruler, left-hand side, click and drag, and you'll drag a guideline in like this. Now if you go in kind of slowly, it's going to snap right to the center position, which is right there. And it stays kind of a light blue. Same thing for the top, just click and drag and then slowly come down towards the middle position. When it gets to the middle, it will snap onto that position right there. Okay, so there's our exact center for this image. If you're not seeing the guidelines, again, go to View and make sure that Guides is checked right there. Okay, let's now put a shape in the middle here. Let's go over here to our Shape tool. Now you may be seeing this just as a rectangle like that. Just come down to the Options panel and click on this button right here. That is the ellipse. Set this here to Circle. And you want to have the From Center checked. Don't worry about anything else. This is fine, except that we want to change our color here to something a bit easier to see. I'll just go for a bright yellow. But this will let us see our guidelines on here. Okay, now take your center point here, little cursor right there, and bring it right down onto the center. You have to kind of eyeball that. Click and then drag out. And it's going to drag out that circle from the center. And bring it out so it's about like this. Mine's showing 1.8 inches, about that. Anywhere in there is okay. It doesn't have to be exact on this one. There we go. And there's our center circle. And the picture will be going right inside of this. And we want to have a little bit of space out beyond the picture. And then we want to have our text outside of that. So I want a second circle for the text to sit on. Now to make this real easy, let's put in a new layer above this layer. Click on the new layer button. That just separates it out from that layer. So we're not going to be messing anything up in here. Let's change our color to a different color, and I'll choose a cyan. That should work out well. There we go. We're still on our circle tool. Come back into the center again, kind of line that up again one more time. Click and drag, and make it just a little bit larger like this. This will be kind of an outline for this thing. There we go. And it also gives us a place to put our text in. Okay, let's now take a look at doing this circle text. That's, of course, what this video is really all about. I'll put the colors back here to their defaults. Black in the front, white in the back. That's that button right there. Go up here to the Type tool. I have my type on centered. We'll actually be using 24 point in here. That should work out well for us. And I'm using Comic Sans Bold. It's just kind of a fun type. This was very popular, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. It kind of fell out of fashion, but it's nice for this particular image. It's kind of a happy one. And more importantly, everybody has this on their computers. So you'll have this typeface already. You can see right over here, upper right-hand corner, little cursor right there has a square box around it. If I click up here, it's going to give me a little insertion. And I'll get my text right there. Just type in your text, and there you go. You get text on the page. That's how text normally works when you're working in a Photoshop Elements file. So you just have your text sits on that text line. Okay, let's go back over here to our Type tool. This time, let's come down to our shape, which is right here. Make sure you're on one of your shapes. And then if I pull this inside, notice how the cursor is now a circle. So it's a rectangle or a square out here. It's a circle inside here. If I click in here, it gives me a text box around my shape. Let's just type in something. This is text inside of a shape. I'm going to triple click on this to select all that text. And it's come down here and let's change this leading down to auto. There we go. Okay, now we're seeing all the text right inside of that shape. So that's text inside of a shape. Not what we want, but this is nice to know how to do that. You just put your text insertion point inside of your shape and you get that text. Okay, I'll hide that one. Back down to the shape again. Back to our type tool. So here's text outside. There's text inside. And then for text on the shape itself, just come out and go right to the top up here and then pull it down right when you're on that line. Notice how that box moves away and I get a little squiggly line through that. Let me see if we can see it better over here. There's that squiggly line. Okay, I'll come to the center up here because we're using centered text and we'll go right there, click on that. And that gives me text that's actually on the circle. You type in the text and it goes around the circle. And notice how it goes clear around and it's upside down at the bottom. Now, if that's what you want, then this is perfect. That's all you have to do. If you want the text at the bottom reading correctly, there's an additional trick to that. So let's do our top text first. I'll just use the backspace key here and just backspace on this. Notice how the centered text keeps it even on both sides. And that's why I did that in centered. I'll get back to the beginning up here. And our first line here is, when I grow up. If you want a couple of dots in there, 3 dots. Now when you do the 3 dots, this is just a visual thing. Notice how it pushed this side way over here. Now it seems like it's over to the left-hand side. It's correct because this dot is lined up with that W over here, but it doesn't look right. So we need to fix this. You do that by triple clicking on your text. It selects all of the text. Now hold the Control key down and you're going to be getting a box in here, a bounding box for that circle shape. But this is actually for the text. I can now come out to a corner. I can click and drag, and I can drag that corner around until my text looks pretty good. I'm just kind of balancing it out. This is going to be a little high, a little lower here, but it'll balance out so it looks like it's just about correct. Now, you don't have to have the 3 dots if you don't want to. It's up to you. It's easier without that. Let's just back up on there. There we go. Now, it's a bit off again, so again, how you manipulate your text in here is you triple click, select your text, hold the Control key down, and you can then move your box around. I'll just put it right back to the 0 point, which is right about, there we go. Okay, so here's our top text. Now to put text on the bottom, we need another text insertion down here. And to make this easy, let's come down to the shape again, put a new layer down here. This will just guarantee that we're not ending up on that type layer again. Go back to our type tool, come down to the bottom, kind of center this on the bottom. Make sure we're on our shape. There we go. See that type tool changes right there. Make sure you're seeing the right type tool, which is that one. And click. Here's our new insertion point. And there's the bottom text. Now notice how it's kind of wrong again. It's upside down and it's kind of backwards. And we'll fix that, but first hit that green check mark, set that in place. Triple click. Now hold the Control key down again, and then click in the text and drag up. And it pulls that text up inside. There we go. And once it goes inside, it then lines up correctly. So our text is now aligned correctly. Obviously, it's in the wrong place, but it's the right way. So we're halfway there. Now triple click. That's 3. Hold the Control key down. Brings back our bounding box. And come out to a corner out here and pull the corner down. So let's go back and forth on these. This will do it well enough for us. And then you want to get this so it's right on that edge. So our text is right on that edge. Pull it back in just a little bit. Let's pull it up from our corner. And I'm looking at just the capital letters. Now, if you go back over here to the Move tool, I can now use this to tap this over to the left-hand side and go up a little bit. And we're almost there. That's touching, the I is touching, the W almost is, the B is too far away, so we're a little bit tall on this. So click once, it kind of changes the selection. We have a different bounding box now. This is the text bounding box. Come down to the bottom middle. I can pull it up just a little bit until that text is right where I want it. It's not exactly a circle when I do this, but it's just a little tweak to get this exactly where I want, which is those capitals hitting. Now it's going to be a little different than it looks up here because we get this space in here. That's because the capitals are sticking up above the text, above our baseline of the text. So we get that space happening in here. We'll fix it at the top. We'll just move the top one up a little bit to compensate for that so that we have the space up here to kind of match the space down here. Basically, we want to have the P out here be at the blue circle. Okay, hit that green check mark. There's our bottom line. Go back to the top one, and that is right here. Triple click with the type tool. There we go. Hold the control key down, and let's pull our corners out again to bring this up just a little bit. And that's just above. Hit the green check mark. And I'll just use the arrow key here to move this over a little bit and just try to get it where I want that centered again. And it's not quite up far enough. Same thing. Triple click, control key, bring your corners out just a little bit. I want to get this P off of that blue right there. Okay, there we go. And again, green check mark, move tool, and then that looks pretty good. I'll go over just a little bit, and that's right about where I want that. Now notice as we change the size of our text box, the text size changed as well. It's now bigger down below and a little smaller up on top. We can fix that very easily. Back to our type tool, triple click, select your type, and let's change the type size here to 24 points. There we go. Let's come down to the bottom, choose OK. Come down to the bottom text, that is the I want to be a lion right here. Back to our type tool, triple click, change this down to 24 point. Choose OK, and there we go. Our bottom text and our top text is now in place. This line in here, that's the line, the circle line for this bottom text. If you click on the background layer, that goes away, and there's the basic text around our circle. All right, let's now bring our picture in, and for that, I'm going to bring the shape 1 here, our yellow shape, just pull it straight up. There's our shape inside. We have our outside line art there. And I want to bring our picture here right above the yellow layer right there, our yellow circle layer. So let's go up to File. We'll open up that picture. Find the folder where you downloaded your picture to, and then open that up. And here we go. Now I have mine coming in as a floating window. This makes this real easy. And to get a floating window, go up here to Edit, come down to Preferences and General right here. And that's that checkbox right there, Allow Floating Documents in Export Mode. And there we go, here's our floating window. This is the way I like to do this. It's just the easiest for me. Now you could, of course, bring this in if you were down here on the photo bin instead. You can actually take your picture from here and drag it over into your project right from the photo bin without doing floating windows. So that is a possibility, but I happen to like floating windows, so there we are. And for this, just grab the background, drag it over here onto your other file, and it puts that in place. We can close that one down. So it's now inside of our image. It's in the right location because I was on the yellow circle layer already, so I put the new file in above the layer that I was sitting on. Now it's too big, so grab one of our control handles on a corner right here, and just drag that down. Now resize our image. If you want to get it exact, all you do is come up here to the opacity, bring down about halfway, and you can then see the image and they're kind of overlapping. And then we can come in here and just kind of fine tune this and get it exactly where you want it. I'm going to show a lot of that cat, I think. So somewhere in here, don't go too far or you're going to be inside of the circle and it will then cut off your picture. So make sure your picture is outside of that yellow circle. And I'll use the arrow keys, the cursor keys to move things around just a little bit. And that looks good. Hit that green check mark and we'll go back up here to 100% opacity. Okay, that's in place. Now go over here to the layers menu, right click where the name is, and then come down here to create clipping mask, choose that, and that puts that image into whatever is on the layer underneath. In this case, it's that circle, so it puts that into that circle underneath. So here's our cat and our circle. I'm gonna hide that top text thing. We're done with that. We don't need that any longer. So that's good. Let's now take care of that kind of metallic look on this circle in behind. We'll come down to that layer here. That's this shape layer. Hold the control key down and click on the thumbnail, and that selects whatever's on that layer. In this case, that selects that circle. Here's our selection. Let's make a new layer now. Above that, here's our new layer button. Puts a new layer above that circle. There we go. You can hide that circle if you want to. And let's go over here. And you want this. This is the gradient tool. It's next to the paint bucket. Click on that. And then in the gradients, down here in the options, click on that drop down. And then come in here and come down to metals. That's this set. And you want this gray one right here. And that's that. I have this set at 100%. normal mode, everything else is the same, just a standard linear gradient. And I'll go up here, upper left-hand corner, so it's kind of where that H is. And I'll drag it right across down towards the L. And that gives me that chrome bevel effect in here. Okay, let's go ahead and do Control D to deselect. Let's now do a little fancier thing here on the image itself and put a little bevel along this edge. Now this picture is inside of this shape right here. So click on the shape, the shape layer, go back over here to the shape tool, and then down here in the options panel, here's our yellow, and below that we have this thing with a red line through it. This is our layer styles. Click on that drop-down arrow. You have all kinds of different styles in here. We'll leave it at bevels, and I'll just come down to, well, this one right here, just kind of a simple inner bevel. Little nice rounded edge on that. We're gonna try different ones. So you have different options in here. There's kind of a sharp inner bevel right here. There you go, see the little line? You can kind of see it down here, bottom right-hand corner, upper left-hand corner. Looks good. Back to our move tool and go back to the background. And there we go. Now, these guidelines are still in here. Let's get rid of those. Go up here to View and just uncheck Guides. And there we go. I'll scroll in just a little bit here. There we are. And one little tip right here. When I'm scrolling like this, if you see that, that's because I'm using the wheel on my mouse. If you want to be able to scroll with a wheel on your mouse, if you have a wheel, that's back here in Options. That's Edit. Come down to Preferences and General. This one over here, Zoom with Scroll Wheel. It's that checkbox right there. It's also not checked by default. I like using this. It's very easy. It's also the way that Photoshop runs. So when I'm going back and forth between the two programs, I try making them match as much as I can. There's a little bit of an odd thing here with the ears on that bevel, but I think that's okay. I'm not going to bother with that. I think we're just fine there. Okay, one last thing we can do in here. Let's change the color of our text just for the fun of it. Go here to our top text, back to the Type tool, and triple click 1, 2, 3. That selects your text. Come down below here, Options panel. Here's our color. And you can choose any color that you want in here from the Options panel. Let's just do kind of a nice orange, which is right there. Choose OK. Looks good. We'll do the same thing here for the bottom text, and that's this one right there. Back to our Type tool, triple click, and we'll come back down to that orange, which is right there. And back to the background layer. There we go. We now have text in color as well. Okay, if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Both of those things really help out my channel a lot, especially as I'm rebuilding up this new channel here. I need all the likes and subscribes that I can get for this new channel. It'll still be several months before I begin making any money from this channel, so you can help out by helping me get to those levels. And if you want to learn everything about how to use Photoshop Elements, the best way to go for that is to use my complete training course. And I have a link for that right down there in the description, and I cover everything in that course, all about how to use Elements and also the Elements Organizer as well. Okay, there you go. That's how to put text around a circle, and I'll see you next time.